What's good, theorists? Which one of y'all going home with Trigger? For today's episode of Culturalist Theory, we're running down the catalog of possibly the only male R&B artist who would have a fighting chance in that elusive versus battle with America's Biggest Blood, Chris Brown. That man is no other than Mr. Steal Your Girl, the Prince of Virginia, Trigger Trey Songz. With over 32 million albums sold worldwide, Trey Songz has been a powerhouse in male R&B since the first decade of the 2000s. Before we get it poppin', you know me, QB, thumbs up if you like it, share and subscribe if you love it. Support it by hitting Patreon for exclusive bonus content and direct access to more perks via Discord. Pick up some Who Raised Me merch on our site as well. Without further ado, say Number 8, Trigger. Trey kept it all the way real about where his head was at while making his 6th album. I'm not in love, I don't have a girlfriend, I ain't even really looking for one right now. So naturally, Trigger leaned hard into promiscuity, infidelity, and that late-night Playboy lifestyle. Around this time, Trey expanded into film with roles in Texas Chainsaw 3D and Baggage Claim. He told The Breakfast Club he was single, focused on fitness, and in a happy and wealthy place. Scratching below the surface, he was living on the edge. Years later, a lawsuit was filed against him by a woman alleging he exposed her breasts without consent during one of his Liquid Sundays events in 2013. The lyrics on Trigger highlight the worst aspect of Trey Songz. He was the poster boy for misogyny and R&B. When he's not explicitly calling women bitches and hoes, he's trying to woo them to bed in the shallowest ways possible. And he's brazen and shameless about it. Songs like All We Do, Nah Nah, and Dead Wrong sound good, but Foreign, Late Night, and Change Your Mind leave you feeling like Trey is only out for one thing. You know, that thing. That thing. Commercially, Trigger debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200 with more than 100,000 copies sold first week, his second consecutive number 1. But the Trigger era may have been the beginning of the end. It was his last album to go platinum, last to top any charts, and the lawsuits and misconduct allegations that would tarnish his image all traced back to around this time. Number 7, Tremaine, the album. Despite co-headlining the Sold Out Between the Sheets tour with Chris Brown and Tyga, and appearing on the European leg of Nicki Minaj's Pink Print tour, Trey largely stepped away from releasing new music. He later admitted he was in a dark place, stating, "You get in a dark place in places where you don't know what's going on. That's why I haven't been doing music the last 2 years." The end of 2016 brought a major legal controversy. Following a performance at Joe Louis Arena in Detroit, Trey was arrested and charged with felony assault of a police officer and misdemeanor aggravated assault. He eventually pleaded guilty to reduced counts of disturbing the peace and was sentenced to 18 months of probation and anger management. Then in January 2017, Keke Palmer accused him of sexual intimidation and claimed he secretly filmed her for his and Fabulous Pick Up the Phone remix without her authorization. She said she had to hide in the closet to avoid being filmed. He said she knowingly entered the video shoot and that he did not sneak her into the video. Despite the chaos, Tremaine the album dropped in May 2017, debuting at number 3 with 67,000 album equivalent units. The growth in Trey's artistry is audible. Playboy directly addresses his image as a shallow sex maniac, and She's Loving It and Come Over are some of his best work since he came out on the scene. However, the vulnerability on the record can teeter towards cringe. Making a song about being nervous about having sex with your number 1 fan is just plain ridiculous. Tremaine went gold and cracked the Billboard Top 5, his last album to do either. Number 6, Back Home. Quick rundown on Trey's R&B thug rap sheet. In March 2018, he was arrested for felony domestic violence, charges later rejected by the LA District Attorney. In June, he was sued in federal court by a Detroit cop and photographer stemming from his infamous concert crash out. Later that year, a $10 million sexual assault lawsuit was filed and eventually dismissed. Teflon Trey kept beating these cases while starring in Blood Brother and surprise dropping 2 10-track mixtapes, 11 and 28, on his 34th birthday. In 2019, he announced the birth of his son Noah with Cara Cologne. Then 2020 hit. His grandfather passed away from COVID-19 complications. Trey contracted it too, losing his sense of smell and doing smell training with onion and citrus peels to get it back. With the world on pause, Trey used the time in quarantine to reflect and become more socially active. In response to the murders of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, he released the protest anthem 2020 Riots How Many Times on June 5th, donating proceeds to Black Lives Matter and the National Bail Fund Network. Back Home, his 8th studio album, dropped in October 2020. It was a deliberate pivot away from the hip-hop dominated trends that made him millions in favor of true R&B. Chord changes, bridges, big harmonies. He reunited with mentor Troy Taylor, who pushed his best vocal performances to date. Time back in his hometown of Petersburg, Virginia, let him exist as Trey from the Heights, rather than his celebrity persona. The 22-track album takes listeners on an emotional roller coaster. The title track, Back Home, featuring Summer Walker, became a hit by utilizing weaponized nostalgia, sampling Rose Royce's I'm Going Down, and interpolating lyrics from New Edition's If It Isn't Love. The album also features I Know a Love, a heartfelt dedication to his son Noah, and All This Love, a long Luther Vandross-inspired wedding ballad. It's a shame Trey's off-field indiscretions affect how people receive his work, because Back Home deserved better than to be his lowest-selling album to date. Number 5, Chapter 5. Trey worked on Chapter 5 for nearly 2 years. Unlike previous projects where he felt confined to time constraints, having the space to travel and live life between sessions proved to be a great creative strategy. Troy Taylor explained that the record was deeply rooted in storytelling, Trey's emotions, and everyday life. The album deliberately continued previous storylines. Trey wanted to elaborate on characters from songs like Can't Be Friends and Black Roses. Because Trey originally started out rapping, he polled his fans on Twitter about hearing him rhyme more. The feedback was yes, so he confidently showcased his rapping skills throughout. He brought in top-tier producers, again Troy Taylor, Benny Blanco, Rico Love, Eric Hudson, and kept features strictly hip-hop big dogs like T.I., Lil Wayne, Young Jeezy, Rick Ross, Diddy, and Meek Mill. Artistically, Chapter 5 is one of Trey's most accessible albums. The Club Ready to Reasons with T.I. and Hail Mary with Jeezy and Weezy get the party going. Ballads like Dive, Pretty Girls Lie, and Almost Lose It showcase some of his best vocal performances. However, songs like Fumble, Don't Be Scared, and Bad Decisions leave much to be desired. Chapter 5 debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200 with 135,000 first-week copies, Trey's first ever chart topper. If CT were around when he posted that heartfelt fan note about wearing his heart on his sleeve, we might have had to drop a comment saying, Trey Day was better anyway. Number 4, Trey Day. After his modest debut in 2005, Trey began work on Trey Day with one clear goal: transition from 60s R&B laced sound to something more mainstream and modern. He branched out from working almost exclusively with Troy Taylor and brought in a murderous row of producers: R. Kelly, Brian Michael Cox, Danger, Stargate, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, The Runners, and more. He called it purely about growth, wanting fans to see him as an older man experimenting with harder beats, unique sonics, and a mix of rapping and singing. The road to release hit speed bumps. Lead single Wonder Woman, produced by Danger, peaked at number 54 on R&B, but barely touched the Hot 100, so the album got pushed. May, then June, then September, finally landing in October 2007. The patience paid off with the second single, Can't Help But Wait, written by Jonte Austin and produced by Stargate. It became Trey's first top 20 Hot 100 hit, peaking at number 14, and earned him a Grammy nomination for Best Male R&B Vocal Performance. Third single, Last Time, produced by Brian Michael Cox, became his second top 10 R&B hit, a bold, taboo record about a man juggling 2 women. Trey Day debuted at number 11 on the Billboard 200, selling 73,000 copies, and eventually went gold, Trey's first plaque. Still, it doesn't hold up as well as his debut. The mid-2000s sound doesn't carry the same timeless quality as the Motown soul of his first. The track list feels overstuffed with potential singles, and for every No Clothes On or Missing You, there's a Grub On or Store Run pulling it back. Remember those albums that changed everything? The ones you played on repeat? The soundtracks of your story. Now, they're not just memories, they're wearable. 8 classic albums pressed into every hoodie and tee. For the ones who grew up on that real hip-hop, and the ones who are still catching up, this is more than merch, it's a tribute. Wear what raised you. Available now at shop.culturalisttheory.com. Number 3, I Gotta Make It. Tremaine Neverson didn't initially plan on a music career. A shy kid who moved frequently due to his mother's work and his stepfather's military career, his first love was actually hip-hop. Jay-Z, Biggie, Nas. But after friends and family noticed his perfect tenor voice, they pushed him towards singing over rapping. He recognized his gift around 14 and started entering local talent shows, winning up to 20 of them. His big break came at 15 when his stepfather introduced him to veteran producer Troy Taylor, known for his work with Boyz II Men, Destiny's Child, and B2K. Trey saw his it factor and took him under his wing. After graduating in 2002, Trey moved to New Jersey to fully commit to his craft. Taylor drove him to New York studios and schooled him in music history, Steely Dan, Prince, Motown, teaching him falsetto and soul. In 2003, Taylor signed Trey to Songbook Entertainment, which quickly landed a joint venture with Atlantic Records and a $100,000 advance. Before the album dropped, Trey gained buzz writing and providing guest vocals for Trick Daddy and Juvenile. He also dropped mixtapes like Prince of Virginia, which even in the mixtape era was an unusual move for an R&B singer. It also included an answer track to R. Kelly's Trapped in a Closet that earned him regional attention. I Gotta Make It officially dropped in July 2005, debuting at number 20 on the Billboard 200 and 40,000 first-week copies. Lower commercially than peers like Chris Brown, but heavily championed for his vocal quality. Produced primarily by Troy Taylor, with additional production from Scott Storch, Organized Noise, J.R. Rodham, I Gotta Make It draws from 90s R&B, soulful Motown, and hints of hip-hop. Deep cuts like All the Ifs, In the Middle, and Hatin' Love are built for a Quiet Storm playlist. A few songs veer toward ridiculous, like Cheat on You, and Trey Songz sings his ass off for no damn reason on Your Behind, which undercut the more heartfelt moments. But with his first check, Trey kept a promise and bought his mother a new home. Number 2, Ready. Ready was a highly calculated move to cross over into pop radio. Trey openly admitted he sacrificed some originality for commercial success. He pivoted away from soulful love ballads toward hypersexualized club-ready tracks infused with hip-hop. To match the new direction, he went through a full rebrand, chopped off his trademark braids, hit the gym heavy, and traded baggy jeans for button-downs and tailored pants. Mentor Troy Taylor noted that Trey let go of his earlier streetism and fully embraced a sophisticated ladies' man aesthetic. The album went through 3 major rounds of song selections before the final track list was locked in. Songs that didn't make it helped form the Anticipation mixtape of 08, again an unconventional move for R&B at the time that had his label initially looking at him sideways, but it proved to be the perfect appetizer. He also dropped the Genesis mixtape that summer, a collection of his earliest recordings from age 15 to show fans his dedication and musical journey. Ready officially dropped the last day of August 2009, powered by Neighbors Know My Name, Say Ah, and I Invented Sex. It's enjoyable front to back with minimal skips. Deep cuts like Jupiter Love, Black Roses, and Holla If You Need Me rival the hits on the first half. The only missteps are tracks that feel borrowed from a rapper's project. Drake's Successful and Soulja Boy's LOL Smiley Face both break up the cohesion. Ready debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200 with 131,000 first-week copies, went platinum, and earned Trey a Grammy nomination for Best Contemporary R&B Album. It turned him from an underdog into an undisputed mainstream superstar. Number 1, Passion, Pain, and Pleasure. 2010 was a major milestone for Trey Songz, riding high off the breakthrough success of Ready. He served as supporting act for Jay-Z's Blueprint 3 tour, visited the White House, and sat in the Oval Office with President Barack Obama. An experience Trey described as humbling and one that inspired him to want to show the youth that anything is possible. He capped it off in June by winning his first BET Award for Best Male R&B Artist. In the midst of the whirlwind, Trey began building his most personal record to date. He locked in with Troy Taylor, Brian Michael Cox, Stargate, B Major, Sean Garrett, and Mario Winans to create Passion, Pain, and Pleasure. It officially dropped in September 2010, debuting at number 2 on the Billboard 200 with 240,000 in first-week sales. It reached number 1 on the R&B charts and earned his second consecutive platinum plaque, powered largely by Bottoms Up and Nicki Minaj's Fire 16 that was just an average day at the office for Roman in 2K10. You can check out our list of Nicki's best verses of 2010 after this. While Trey had previously defended the hypersexualized direction of Ready by saying the public likes generic more than they admit, noting that while his earlier, more substantive songs were accepted, His explicitly sexual singles were what truly captured people's attention and catapulted his career. However, Passion is something different. He still brings the sensual serenades like Panty Dropper, but pure love songs like Made to Be Together hit with real sincerity. On Trey Day and Ready, he came across like a playboy only out to hit it and quit it. On Passion, Trey sounds like he actually loves women. Please Return My Call, Already Taken, and Red Lipstick are just a few examples of Trey seeing women as more than their bodies. While not every track is a killer, the fillers like Love Me Better, Unusual, and You Just Need Me are more about the beats than anything else. While Trey Songz' legacy in the R&B pantheon is solidified commercially, Passion, Pain, and Pleasure is the piece that has stood the test of time when evaluating his pure artistry. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to check out our other male R&B artists we've ranked, like Chris Brown, Tank, and Tyrese. Until next time, I'm QB, I'm out.
I don't wanna leave you, baby.